Armstrong Williams on the right side.
Armstrong.
Don't curse, speak English.
Armstrong.
Virtuous society.
Armstrong.
I dare you to listen.
Hey, turn it up. Hey. Armstrong. Get on the right side. Armstrong.
Elevate your mind.
Armstrong.
I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side.
Armstrong.
Yo, man, it's your boy KO. And you're tuned in to the most conservative of our brothers.
Armstrong.
The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up.
Payne.
Armstrong.
Elder Chicks, are you with us yet? I knew they were not with us because they had not been placed on the board. Another Atlanta shooting, man.
Really?
Another Atlanta shooting.
I missed this one. When was this?
Well, there's so many. They're happening so rapidly.
30,000 a year here in the United States, and perhaps we don't have an epidemic.
30,000 what?
30,000 shootings by guns here in America every year.
You mean people hunting deer and
No. I'm talking about human beings being shot.
You mean criminals?
At the end of a gun.
Innocent or deserving people?
Well, these are not by police officers or our
Are
armed.
people defending themselves? That's what I'm asking you.
These are shootings that end up with people in the hospital, Armstrong. I mean,
But I'm asking,
or dead.
Are
I
we
mean,
talking about people defending themselves? I need context here.
Well, I mean, I don't know the statistics on how many people are defending themselves, how many people are shooting those guns.
Shooting criminals.
I'm talking about the statistics that I'm talking about are just 30,000 shootings here in America. Now, we can break that down, but I don't think that we have that many people. We have an epidemic in this country.
Oh, we don't have it.
We don't have a shooting epidemic in this country?
Let me update you. At least one student was wounded on today in a shooting at a middle school in Atlanta. There was one boy who was shot. He's okay. And an Atlanta police spokeswoman told parents outside the Price Middle School in southeast Atlanta. An Atlanta Fire Department official identified the student as a 14-year-old who was hit in the head and taken to the hospital. The official added that a teacher was treated for superficial wounds, injuries at the scene. They just heard that somebody's kid got shot. Police is not talking about it much. The shooting came as national debate rages over gun violence. It just goes to show you, you're not going to stop it, Payne.
Listen, I am not going to subscribe to the notion that if we do nothing, or if we do something, it's still going to occur. I have to believe in the goodness here in our country, and the goodness of people that says that we have laws in this country to protect us so that we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, justice. Now, what
about the ability to defend ourselves?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm absolutely in favor of all Americans being able to defend themselves through the use and the bearing of arms. I just don't know that we need to bear arms with automatic assault weapons or magazine clips.
Handguns are what kill people. Come on, man.
Absolutely. So listen, I'm not telling you that we should ban handguns. I'm telling you that we don't need automatic assault weapons or the magazine clips that go in them. Heck, I'd just satisfy for background checks and the banning of these clips that have that more than 10 rounds in them.
You know, we really should be talking about the fiscal clip and how the economy has not lived up to the expectations as academic economists and the biased media. In fact, our fourth quarter was pretty dismal, and the first quarter doesn't look any better. And we were told that things were getting better. I tried to tell you, you asked me, I tried to tell you, you got to be kidding me. There's no way it can get better. No way.
Well, if
we have done nothing to change this trend.
Are you speaking about the constricting of our economy here recently, where our gross domestic product was down by 0.1%? Is that what you're talking about?
That's just one of the things.
Okay, because really all the other indicators are up. Do you want to talk about housing?
They're not up.
Housing starts are up. Are you kidding me?
When I talk to everyday poor people and struggling people, their housing situation is not up. They're struggling.
Listen.
Now, if you want to poll wealthy folks like yourself or people who are doing well, that's okay.
I'm
But
far from wealthy.
I talk to the real people.
Do you?
And they're struggling.
No doubt. But let's not conflict the issues here. I mean, are we going to talk about poor people, or are we going to talk about the economy and gross domestic product? We're talking about two different things.
We're talking about Americans that others tend to forget about.
Well, you know what? I am an advocate for those individuals. So you and I are on the same page there. So let's talk about them. What is it that you're hearing them say? What are they sharing with you, Armstrong, on a daily basis?
They're drowning.
They're drowning.
They're really drowning.
Are they telling you that they would have done better under a Mitt Romney presidency?
You know. Let me tell you what people are coming to the realization of it. That's a good.
It is a very good point because
yeah.
I mean I really want to know what side you really fall on.
I can't understand why, no matter who's in office, Republican or Democrat,
sure,
their plight not only doesn't get any better, but it gets worse.
There is a deep divide between the wealthy and the poor in this country, and it saddens me that the media
divide.
The divide is a chasm. It is like the Grand Canyon times 100,000-fold. Are you kidding me?
But there's a mindset among the few that believe that government cannot take care of them. They don't trust government, and they feel in order to survive and to pass on something, they must do it for themselves. All they want the government to do is create the infrastructure, have no bias, inequality in the laws, not over-regulate it, and give me a chance where I can put up a shingle and realize the American dream.
Is that those are the poor people that you're talking about? They don't want any. Or you're just talking about? I'm just trying to figure out what group of people you're talking about.
I am more than happy to answer that for you, Mr.
Please.
Lucas. I am talking about the haves.
The haves do.
The haves.
Okay.
I'm talking about the haves.
All right.
Many of the have-nots, through no fault of their own, actually believe that if they conceded to the government taking care of them, raising their children, taking care of their education, creating jobs for them, that could last. But the problem is that so many states' bureaucracies are bankrupt because the stimulus money is gone. And the stimulus money was not was spent on infrastructure and creating jobs. It was created on unions and to save the state budget. I mean, it was like a stimulus for the elite. That money did not trickle down for the less fortunate in those states and across this nation. And so many Americans are beginning the drumbeat. Why is it that we put so much of our energy, so much of our time into these politicians? They vote themselves a pay raise. They won't balance the budget. And when we say we're going to tie balancing the budget to you getting your pay raise, there's this sound that you hear of outrage. And how dare you say we're not going to get our pay? And yet these people are still suffering. And so they're beginning to realize that government is not the answer.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the haves are not the answer either for the have-nots. And it's obvious. It can't be any more obvious than some of the policies that you see come out of some of government. And it's unfortunate that we have a government that really talks out of both sides of their neck.
I'm gonna tell you something that shocked me today. It really shocked me. The head of the NAACP, the head, I was stunned, said today that black people are worse off under Obama than they ever have been. They were worse off under him. This is what he said. The head of the NAACP. Let me go to Miss Virginia. Yeah, that's what he said. Miss Virginia, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Happy 2013.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Virginia.
Hi, Armstrong, and hi, your guests. Armstrong, I must tell you, I think your guests and I are on the same sheet of music. I'm a community organizer here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm down there in the trenches with these people that Republicans keep saying wants the government to take care of them. I don't know where those people are. I'm not telling you that there's not a person here and there who feels that way. But the average person doesn't want the government to take care of them. The average person wants a level playing field where they can get out there and give their children a good education. They can get a good job at a livable wage and take care of themselves. So it's not a matter of anybody wanting anybody to take care of them. Now, what I am tired of is I'm tired of the haves getting corporate welfare. And I see it everywhere, and I think one of you talked about the stimulus. And that was corporate. Some of that money that was meant to trickle down to us.
Amen.
Didn't trickle down to us.
Amen.
The members of the corporate welfare got it.
Amen. We're on the same page.
So the very people who are talking about someone taking care of poor people are the ones the government is taking care of the haves, not the have-nots.
That is true.
I
agree.
For the federal government for years.
Amen.
And I know how they steal and get contracts and don't live up to the agreements and the terms of the contracts and get just money handed to them. So they classify us with them because they steal. They think, and they're dishonest. They think that we're stealing and being dishonest, and that's just not the truth.
Now you're telling the truth. You and I are on the same page. I don't disagree with you. The rich are getting richer, the government is getting bigger, and the poor people are being hoodwinked. Thank you, Miss Virginia. We're coming back. We see you. C-Payne?
I'm right there. I'm ready to make comment. I'm ready.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. Just like the Affordable Care Act seeks to ensure people with public or private coverage can find high-quality health care, AAA911health.com offers consumers you with access to better information, quality care, and big-time savings on your health care. Yes, big time. AAA911health.com offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's right. If AAA911health.com haven't saved you money, guess what? They will pay you back in full your membership with no questions asked. Just tell them Armstrong Williams sent you to AAA911health.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make $100 million or $10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Ms. Paulette, you have the floor. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Paulette.
Hey, how are you today? Happy New Year.
Happy to you.
good to talk to you and listen to you. You know what, Armstrong, you own it, doggone it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. But I do agree with a few things. I understand that, my thing about government and these people that are holding major offices, why are they permanent there? Why they don't have term office? Why are they there not doing anything? And if in this, with under Obama, that people are worse off, is because he did not have the cooperation. And when they found out that Mitt Romney didn't win, then they decided to cooperate because they want to get voted back into office. That's what the agenda is all about. But in a way, I think that Romney is a great businessman, and he could be utilized in the White House in some type of way because he has a great business mind and everything like that. But the reason why we are worse off, because non-cooperation. That's the whole thing. I don't believe anybody, in the average person, don't want handouts. I really don't believe that. I think the average person that grew up, especially in the South, you had to grow up, work. If you're 50 or more, you learn how to work because you had to work. If you grew up on a farm, you had to work. If you could walk, you could carry an egg. So with all of that, I think big government, but like Miss Virginia stated, you got these people that are in these offices that are getting paid, and then they want to get paid more. That's what I don't get.
Miss Paulette,
That's my problem.
This is you have really struck a chord with me. I absolutely agree with you that there are term limits would really solve a lot of problems here, because right now these politicians are beholden to corporate interests, to those individuals who are going to contribute to their campaign and not to the constituencies and what's good for their people. Yes. Unbelievable. I think that's a great idea, Ms. Paulette. Term limits would be great.
How do we help people lift their boats out of poverty? What are the real, because government is not the answer.
Well, I just think that government is here for times, in this country, whenever there has been a major catastrophe or depression or anything that has really hurt this country as a whole, the government has been instituted, has been implored to help this country get back on its feet, and it always has, from the depression all the way through the stimulus package here most recently, which got this country back on its feet. Now, we talk about poor people here, or people who are less fortunate, and the fact that the money didn't trickle down. Well, you just imagine what those people would have been like if we had been in another Great Depression here, one that was worse than the 1920s. I'd venture to say that stimulus package and helped keep this country on track. Now, listen, we're talking about apples and oranges when we talk about government versus when we talk about the people. The government operates as a whole different entity, a whole different beast, Armstrong. And you and I know that it goes both ways. When it comes to the government, they're either there to help themselves, make more money. They're here to run something that, for example,
are steal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd venture to say that. But at the end of the day, though, it's that infrastructure that the government puts in place that helps the people who have-nots at all. It gives them something. I mean, it gives them an opportunity, and we're a country who are loving people. We help people. I don't understand why that's such a tough thing to understand when it comes to the government.
Yes, are you there, caller? Hello? I thought I heard a voice other than your voice.
Well,
Payne.
you know what? I can take a step back, but I'm going to make a point every now and then, because when I come up against you, I'm not quite sure I always understand where you're coming from. I'd like to hear you comment on what I just said, Armstrong.
We've got to get away from this inspiration and more into aspiration. Less about emotions and more about the facts of what worked. People know what worked. They know what has worked when people in this country were subjugated to the worst kind of dehumanization, and yet the families were together, yet they had thriving businesses. The kids were more illiterate today then than they are today. 92% of fathers were in the household. And you ask yourself, how is that possible? In fact, if you look at the out of wedlock births, you look at the high school dropouts, you look at the kids in the penal system, you would actually think that we're living in the day of slavery and de jure segregation, because those numbers would match what you would expect by what supposedly slavery wrought during that period. But yet those families stayed together, yet they thrived in their businesses, yet there was unity, there was not the pettiness, and their kids excelled, they thrived. Look at what came from that generation, and they have far less. And you've got to go back and revisit that period and ask, what was it, despite the worst of worst, that kept the most important ingredients together? And when did they stop passing that along? Rodney, thank you for calling.
Hey, Armstrong.
Hi there. Can you answer that to my main man, C. Payne Lucuas? Because something is amiss here.
Well, yeah. Let me start off with you talking about the way kids dropping out and the way we're actually living now and stuff. You got to keep in mind, back in the day when you compare it to slavery time, you got to remember it was against the law to teach black people, so we weren't dropping out of school because we weren't in school.
But I'm making a different point. But we were far more literate then than we are now.
Well, yeah, I think what it is now these days, the norm or the thing to be is to be stupid and cool. That's the new thing now. You know, back then, in certain times of the centuries ago, maybe in the 60s or 70s, yeah, you could be stupid in school because you got a connection at a company or factory that your father, grandfather, or uncle worked at, and they could get you in. So now these days, you know, that ain't going to fly. So, well, my point is, I want to go back to your what y'all was talking about. There's no epidemic in the shooting. And Armstrong, you know what? I'm on your side on this. I'm going to blame President Obama, because if he wasn't the president, we wouldn't have all these shootings. People are frustrated. They just going off the limb, shooting left to right now because we have a black president.
What?
I mean,
wait a minute.
And this is the thing, too. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had what you call a 3-round burst. Rodney.
Before we get to the Marine Corps,
Rodney,
people are listening. Think about what you just said. Please. You cannot.
Okay, I'm thinking about what I just said.
You are not comprehending on a deeper level what you just put out over the national airwaves. You cannot blame President Obama. Violence is no worse off today than it was when a Bush, a Clinton, or anybody else was in office.
Oh, come on, Armstrong. We never had these school shootings like this back in the 80s or 70s.
But how do you blame that on the president?
Because people are frustrated. They think it's a big change is going to happen. You know, they think that another minority or another group is going to take over now.
No, so you're saying, Rodney,
they're taking their frustration out on what they can get their hands on.
Rodney, are you saying that that the reason why we had the Newtown shooting in Aurora, Colorado, or even Tucson with Gabby Giffords, that the shootings occurred because the perpetrators were frustrated with there being an African-American family in the White House, perhaps even using the bathrooms? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it got some kind of connection.
So you're saying that because there's an African-American in the White House, that these perpetrators of these mass shootings are feeling like they are losing their country, their America, the America that they envisioned, and as a result, they are so frustrated that they're taking it out on these other human beings.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a tough proposition for me. I'd have to tell you that is pretty outlandish. Armstrong, have you heard that one before?
No one has heard that before.
That
it doesn't even add up.
That's pretty tough. I mean, really, why wouldn't they perpetrate?
You just said we had an epidemic of shooting. So what is? So don't tell me that these people are crazy or mental, because a crazy and a real mental person don't know how to load a cartridge or shoot a rifle.
Well, first of all,
you tell me what is the problem? Why all of a sudden we got guns flying off the shelf everywhere, and everybody throwing up the Second Amendment up in the people's faces, and knowing that was wrote in 1776, directed to the King of England, that they telling the King of England that they got the right to bear arms. So you tell me what's the problem?
Well, first of all, this country comes from a very long tradition of gun holding and toting people.
Responsible,
and very responsible. And don't get me wrong, we're talking about people from this country was built on that. The right to bear arms was huge, and just like you said, it has happened for centuries here.
Rodney, thank you. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back. The phone line's open. It's open mic today. C-Payne is in the house.
Rodney, don't go nowhere, Rodney. We gotta finish this discussion.
Hold, Rodney. Hold there.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Let me go back to my initial point to you about how these families were able to navigate through the worst of time, and they passed on pride, man, dignity, strong families,
Absolutely.
A portrait of life. What happened?
Yeah, you know, it is very unfortunate to watch, especially the African American family in this country dissipate in a way that I've never seen before. You know, you're absolutely right. That tradition, the strong black church, was kind of where we had our roots. Because we didn't really have anywhere else to turn, but as time has gone on, we've gotten away from those principles.
Why don't you call it what it is? The government, man.
Why would you say it's the government? Because see, I don't.
There was a time during the 70s when the government would come to someone's home in order to receive the government's money. A woman couldn't have a man in the house. They would look in the closet, in the bathroom, under the bed, and if there was any sign of a man in the house, they would sever your check. What kind of system would ask you to break down your home and toss the man out if they really are interested in your progress? I mean, it's crazy. The government, this affirmative action, people thought they were getting something. People lost their drive, their intensity, their focus. They lost the fact that you can't trust the government. That even though the government may have appeared to come around, they feel still in their own way espousing, from my opinion, even more racism with affirmative action, because they made people believe they didn't have to do anything. The government would take care of them. They came up with all these social programs, aid for dependent children. I mean, it did not work. It did not work. And look at what this breakdown of the family has caused. More than anything else, the government's involvement brought down the breakdown of the family in this country.
And the government has also done some amazing things too. You know, listen, I can't rail on government in general.
I'm doing that.
Okay, well you can, but because I'm going to tell you that we wouldn't have an African American president in the White House if we didn't have affirmative action. We wouldn't have a Secretary of State like Condoleezza Rice if we didn't have, because these people could not. We did not have opportunities. Opportunities for diversity in these white schools is very important.
Frederick
Armstrong.
Douglass was a main advisor.
Frederick Douglass said that if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
He was a main advisor to Abraham Lincoln. I mean, they could not keep this forest going, holding on black people. The hand of God moved. You kidding me? You say we would not have this if we're not for
I'm telling you that we live in a society where black people would have been ruled out. They would not have been given opportunities. Look at these institutions that, but for affirmative action, we wouldn't have any kind of color. The only reason
the rest of the other 90% of American blacks who have no idea what affirmative action is and will never benefit from it? It's a bourgeois boondoggle.
Well, you could call it bourgeois boondoggle if you want, but I know that my daughter, who is 8 years old, gets to look up on TV and see Barack Obama in the White House and see Michelle Obama in the White House and those two beautiful little girls in the White House, and know that one day that she can espouse to do those things. Now, my daughter is getting deeply rooted in knowing that I get the chance to give back to her, and she'll give back to somebody else. At least we have an opportunity.
Can only take us but so far.
You know, listen, I'm not saying that affirmative action is the answer to all of our problems, but let's not get confused here. That but for affirmative action, we wouldn't have some of the opportunities that we do. And our young black boys
we would be much further along.
Well, our young black boys and girls get a chance to see and look up to something that they would not otherwise have an opportunity to do. You just listen to our president in and of itself, who, by the way, was the smartest individual at Harvard University, but regardless of affirmative action.
I need a drink.
Well,
and you know I don't drink.
Well, first of all, he well, how do you think he became?
I'm not talking about that part.
Okay.
I'm talking about the
Let's not go on. Let's not get going to his brightness.
Let me go to Margie. We're not talking about his brightness. I'm talking about the plight of the majority of black people in this country.
Well, I'm just telling you.
What have the programs done for the overall black population?
Well, you know what? The black population wouldn't have that. We wouldn't even have a black president.
Oh my goodness.
We wouldn't have a black Secretary of State.
Margie.
Yes, open your ears, Armstrong.
I can't.
I have to give kudos to your.
I can't.
Yes.
I haven't cleaned the wax out of them yet.
Just so you know, the guest's name is C. Payne Lucuas Jr. He's the co-host of this show on Thursdays. And Thursdays, he has a chance to tell the other side, the real side, not just the right side.
You know, you absolutely.
Wait a minute, Armstrong. Let me say this. There have been over 200 years for some people in this country to amass wealth. More than 200 years. And they did it in my neck of the woods. I'm a South Carolinian like you. hook or crook.
That's right.
And on the backs of other people. Once those people that you're talking about parents were able to send them to school, the only thing that they could be some years back were farmers, preachers, or teachers. They were allowed to send their children to go out to be things other than that. Now that we have, of course, paid into the system of Medicare and Social Security, and some of your congressional leaders have stuck their hands in the cookie jar and said, I'm going to put that cookie back. For those people who are at retirement age now, they want to change the game. They have always done that. Once we start accumulating, don't put that on President Obama. He has been a brilliant president, and I am just appalled at people who kind of look like him, because he's mixed, of the jealousies that they have. So listen to your guests. If you really want to understand, you are in agriculture, as I understand it, from your parents, and you met up with, you were fortunate. But see, when they talk about black people, they don't talk about the masses. They talk about the one or two who were able to break the barrier and move upwards. That is no comparison to the other groups. You have people of foreigners coming in and opening up 7-Elevens or gas stations. And I understand they don't have to pay taxes for a number of years. Well, when an African American opens it up, he has to pay taxes. So I don't think all of that, and I'm one of those people that are down in the trenches. And I would dare not tell you what you said some other people told you. And that's all I want to say.
I want to talk to you a minute. I don't want you to leave. Okay. I'm not going to even challenge what you said, because I appreciate your spirit, and I actually appreciate it very deeply what you just explained, especially issue about ministers, teachers, and farmers, because there's a lot of truth to that. But I'm talking about the glue that held families together when there was no affirmative action, when there was no civil rights, when you knew the government was against you, you knew the government was not going to give you anything, you knew they would lynch your brother and father on Sunday, how that community felt came inward, how they found the godliness in themselves, how they had faith, and how they were still blessed in their communities. They kept those families together. In fact, they brought a portrait of life to the marketplace. They were given a spiritual currency, which has been passed on from one generation to the next. But it seems as though that when the government decided to make them believe through a few little chillings that the government would finally honor what should have been done all along, the government became their God, and they abandoned the things that was the glue for those communities, and they went after this illusory government, which, like you said, it worked for the few. But is it enough to work for the few? And even there are people, like you said, who can break through, whether they're on the farm or whatever. You're going to always have your exceptions. But we've got to think about the masses of people are still so far behind.
Armstrong, I
wanted to respond.
Well, Armstrong, the only thing that I can say to that is that your father, my father, were not allowed to be more than just that. They weren't allowed to come up with I was trying to think of a cooperative, cooperative farming, where they could grow and get bigger. As a matter of fact, they lost some of that, and that was through, you also have to look at the legislation that is going on in each state, and how many states have government officials, and the highest government official in any state is the governor, and how they are pushing for any president, not only President Obama's agenda. How cooperatively are they working with people? I don't see that as, because there's still stagnation in the system, and I don't agree with you that all people are looking for a handout. I think when our family started, they were looking for a helping hand.
They were looking for fairness. They were looking for fairness and equality. That's all they wanted. To be treated fairly. And leave them alone, and they will build their own lives, their own villages.
But even in that, even given that, there are people who would, as you say, sham the government, because they would get more proceeds from it. But I think that affirmative action was good. I still say that it was good, is good. And it allows for, if you're not sitting down at the table, this is what I've learned.
Hold there, because I know C-Payne is chomping at the bit. Miss Margie, hold there. We're live, don't go away.
Armstrong Williams returns.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. Just like the Affordable Care Act seeks to ensure people with public or private coverage can find high-quality health care, AAA911health.com offers consumers you with access to better information, quality care, and big-time savings on your health care. Yes, big time. AAA911health.com offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's right. If AAA911health.com haven't saved you money, guess what? They will pay you back in full your membership with no questions asked. Just tell them Armstrong Williams sent you to AAA911health.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show and Payne Lucuas. Miss Margie, your final comments, and thank you for staying with us.
My final comment is that if you are not sitting at the table, what I've learned, when a program or a contract or law is written, you don't really know what is due to you and what is not due to you and how do you get around it. And I agree with him, without affirmative action, President Obama would not be in the White House, and you probably would not have a radio show. Isn't that ugly of me, Armstrong? That's all I wanted to say, and to say that I agree that infrastructure money was needed. It saved those auto workers' jobs. We're producing more cars now. Maybe I didn't benefit from it, but there are other people who do, and I guess I'm one of those people, down in the South. I'll wait on mine. Have a good day.
So thank
Margie.
you. So I guess you would not be sitting here today if it were not for affirmative action.
Oh, I might be sitting here, but the opportunities for an education that I have might not have occurred. Listen, let me, Margie, thank you so much for calling and sharing with us your thoughts. I think you have a wisdom that is much appreciated, and we need to hear that more often.
The fact that she said that I implied I would not have a radio show if it were not for that. Listen, I would be successful. It wouldn't matter what country, what time, what period, what issues were going on at the time. I would be successful.
Well, I mean, perhaps
it is not outside of me. It's insane. It's inside me.
Absolutely agree.
And we've seen this throughout time because, listen, people believe that government is their first, their last, and only option. In fact, I have little faith in government, okay? It's what you do every day in your life, especially morally. I think the choices you make every day more define who you are than your own character. In fact, your choices become your character.
Let's just say this. And it's great that you can make those choices.
Not just me. We see it every day.
Let me.
We see it every day.
Well, listen, I mean,
I'm no exception.
I'm seeing poor choices every day too. I mean, I see people who make bad choices every day.
I
see single mothers who are having another additional child when they can't afford to have another child, where they're not using contraception, where they're getting AIDS and HIV because they don't know anything about taking care of themselves and their bodies. But that's not the point that I wanted to make. Let me share this with you. If you take a white man and a black man, and you put them, you said, we're going to have a race. And this black man has been, by the way, he has been shackled to a pole for the last 10 years. And then you take that key, you go up to him and take him off that shackle, and you walk him to the starting line. And you put him on against this white guy who's not been shackled for the past 10 years. So you got a black guy who's been shackled for 10 years and a white guy that's not. And you get 50 yards out and you ask them to race. Who do you think's going to win that race?
The brother was smoking.
You think so?
No, so.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where you
he was smoking.
He was
waiting for that race all his life to be free.
But he doesn't even know how to walk.
Oh, please. Let me go to
That's
Elizabeth.
the point.
Oh.
He don't even know how to walk, Armstrong. How can you make him run before he even learns how to walk? That's what's so sad is that therein lies your disillusionment.
No, he would win.
Oh,
Elizabeth.
And I hope all your readers, all your listeners out there, I think all of our listeners out there just heard that.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Yes. To your very first conversation about why the black family has fallen apart, I wondered the same thing about 10 years ago, or maybe less or more. But anyway, I just so happened to be listening to the radio, and I heard this commentary on educational radio, and it was this man. He had done a commentary over years about the black family falling apart, and he came to the conclusion that, and he even said, slavery didn't tear the black family apart. He said apartheid and segregation didn't tear the black family apart. But he said the main thing that seems to have torn the black family apart seems to have been when the rock cocaine and the marijuana got so prevalent and everybody was shipping it into the black neighborhoods for 10, 15 cents a shot to get high. And to him, he says, he's come to the conclusion that it wasn't apartheid or stuff that tore our families apart. It was us succumbing to the drug epidemic.
Which was put there by government using your leaders who benefited from it.
I don't want to get into that part.
You don't have to. But you know it's the truth because you believe in the truth. Please. That was no accident. Come on.
I'm not going to disagree.
You're correct. The drugs flying into the black neighborhood was no accident. No. And they can see further down the line than we can, and they're going to do what they can in however they can do it to do what they did in the beginning to break up the black family.
Now,
they
you
broke
just
us
said
up
something.
when they brought us out of Africa, and they broke us up when they put drugs in there. And people like to feel good, and every time you turn the television on, it's do this to feel good,
Entertain
do
'em.
that to feel good.
And let me just tell you something else you just
So,
said. Something else you just said, which is very important. See, many people live for the moment. All they care about is what's going on today. They don't plan for the future. They don't think about the future. You know what? When I was growing up, my parents, thank God, taught me right from wrong, how to make the right choices. When I am being approached by drugs and all this other stuff, I was offended. I was offended. And you know what my attitude was? Do you actually think that I am going to cancel everything that my mother and father taught me and involve myself in this? No. They worked too hard and too long.
Let me tell you one thing that my mother raised us on, and she had 5 girls, and she said, this is one thing you have to do. You have to get a good education because you might have to take care of yourself because you might get hold to an old no-good husband. So be prepared.
I like that.
Well, you know what? I thank God that you had parents that taught you that, and Armstrong, you had parents that taught you that.
Continue to have
and
them.
I did.
Yes.
Who taught
But
me that?
they're not exceptional.
But no, they're not.
They're not exceptional.
But the black family has a single mom. That's it.
Choices.
So it's all been her fault.
Choices.
Nobody taught her.
No.
See, Armstrong, that's what I'm trying to share with you.
The sins of the father will be visited upon the children 5 generations deep.
Well,
it just didn't start. It just didn't start
and
with
that's
this
why I
generation.
just told you off air. I said it's going to take generations
That's exactly right.
this problem, this epidemic, if you will, to change. And it's going to change incrementally until it becomes intrinsic in who we are to become a better person. That takes generations.
I know so much about you. When you were off track, but how did you get back on track? Because your parents taught you the right way.
Always.
And you found your way home.
Always.
People,
always.
Even for people who sometimes don't have parents, in their heart, they know right from wrong.
Well,
they know when they're screwing up. They know when they're making bad choices.
So why don't they make it back?
Because they have no self-esteem. Their self-worth has been built.
So what you're saying is that some of us learn self-esteem, self-worth from our parents, and others do not.
No, not just from the parents, from the community, from the church, from mentors, from the classroom. And when we go to the classroom and do well, when we study and we get good grades, it reaffirms who we are. Let's go to Carrie. Hello, Carrie.
Hi. In the Bible it says if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life.
Yes.
It's not about the parents. I know just as many white women that are single mothers as there are black. You can't keep saying it's a black family this, it's black that. It's
true.
not.
It's true. You're
it's
right.
Everywhere.
Yes.
There's no mention
Knows
of
no
race
color.
in the Bible. We're all the same color in the Bible. And everyone, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, needs to get off of this, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. It's in you regardless of what your parents did or did not do to you, and I won't go into what I went through growing up. But I know more dysfunctional people that have managed to pick themselves up and find enough of a shred of respect in themselves to try and make something of themselves versus living off of the government dole or blaming everybody else. Yeah, it'd be a whole lot easier if if I just threw my hands up, I would be in jail or dead or have 5 kids and my husband dealing drugs out of my house. But I chose to walk away from people like that. Nobody made me stay around them and let my life be revolved around doing things that I shouldn't be doing.
Well, somebody taught you well. And
everybody needs to take their own personal responsibility for what they do. When you get up in the morning, you're given an opportunity to do right or wrong. And if you're over the age of 5, you know the difference between right and wrong. And what you do is, like Armstrong said, your choices define who you are, whether it's good or bad.
Fact.
So, everybody, you and all these other TV and radio people that want to blame someone need to sit and look at themselves and think about how they got to be where they are. Did they blame everyone else because of the color of their skin, because they didn't get to do this, that, and the other?
The most important thing, I want to thank you for, the most important thing that you said today, and I thank you for reminding Payne and I, is that this is not a black issue. This is an issue of people. If you take the same circumstances of any people, because this is how the Irish were before the turn of the last century, and you put them in this situation, the results will be basically the same. It's not about race.
Oh, well, it may not be for you, but let me share this with you. Black people are more unemployed than anybody else in this country. And if you go to our prison system, you can see.
But they're not unemployed because they're black.
Listen, let me
it's
tell you
not
something.
because they're black.
Then what is it before? Because
choices.
Okay, so it's all choices. In our prison system, where we find
choices.
Choices is why our
choices.
You're disillusioned again.
No,
because I'm telling you.
Yes, there's
the
unfairness
that they are handing. There is unfairness in the prison system.
But then, if you know there's unfairness, then don't do the crime.
Well, listen.
Don't do the crime.
But the point is,
don't do crack cocaine.
Because if
it doesn't matter. Don't do the crime.
Listen, I mean, I could go to.
I can see you get mad over here, but don't do it. You have a choice. You have a choice. You know, if the system is rigged against you, why are you?
So you agree that the system is rigged against black people?
No, against people who are caught with crack cocaine versus
powder cocaine.
Powder cocaine. Yes, it doesn't matter.
So you could come in with kilos of powder cocaine.
That's right. The standard is different. So why would you come in with?
Why is the
cocaine?
standard different?
Just stay away from drugs.
Listen, why is
don't
the standard
do drugs.
different?
Thank you.
It's those kind of standards.
Thank you, listeners.
It's those kind of what they call.
Thank you, callers. You all were wonderful.
It's called institutional racism. It's not overt. It's covert.
Choices.
Institutional racism.
For more information.